in my Lego kingdom. Last time, while Dragon Emperor Nograd sent his shapeshifter disguised as a guard of the royal hearts in order to kidnap King Cuthbert, the king was visited by the clockwork ambassador Bolts from the land of Oz with a message of warning about the kidnapping. As a result of this intelligence shared by the Wizard of Oz through his ambassador, King Cuthbert makes an effort to stop or slow down this kidnapping plot. He again uses his back channels with the Wolfpack Rangers, and through them arranges for the cooperation of the notorious threesome, the Bandit Witches. The witches agree to monitor the roads and attempt to stop this plot in its tracks. Meanwhile, the shapeshifter has stolen a wagon in order to get to King Cuthbert's castle as quickly as possible and fulfill his orders from the Emperor Dragon. But the three witches intercept the wagon and make every attempt to take the shapeshifter into custody. However, the shapeshifter quickly changes itself into a blue goblin, the most dreaded enemy of the Bandit Witches. And startled by this transformation, the witches let down their guard and the shapeshifter quickly escapes. Meanwhile, back at the Dragon King's castle, Nograd the Mighty is facing a crisis of his own. His vampire legions are threatening a revolt unless their commander, Lord Vinton, replaces General Scaliosis as supreme commander of all the forces of evil. The Emperor, recognizing that he must deal with this crisis immediately, orders a duel between General Scaliosis and Lord Vinton, who will battle in hand-to-hand combat at the sacred battle arena, the Temple of the Red Dragon. What will the escape of the shapeshifter mean to the safety of King Cuthbert? Who will be the victor in the duel between Lord Vinton and General Scaliosis and command all the troops of evil? The answer lies in the future. Tune in again next time and find out for yourself. I'm Tom Bray since 1954. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And, this week I had just the greatest time. I mean, I always have a great time with Lego, but I had an especially good time this week because I once again built a 4+ set. And if you've followed this channel for a while, you know that from time to time I really enjoy building 4+ sets. I just needed something that was going to be easy to build and quick to build and just give me some relaxation. It's been that kind of week. And since I'm finding it slow going on the Lion's Knight's Castle, even though I know I'm going to love it when it's done, I'm having a hard time getting that one finished. So I wanted to take a break after building it for a while and just concentrate on a set that was going to bring me immediate joy. And since I've begun to integrate Ninjago into my fantasy castle world, I saw set number 71831, which is called Ninja Spinjitzu Temple from the Dragon's Rising theme, as just the perfect thing to build, and found a way to add it into my lore as kind of a sacred battleground in the Temple of the Red Dragon in the kingdom of Nograd the Mighty. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this build and what the experience was like for me, and a little bit about the set, in case you're not familiar with it. I know a lot of you don't bother with 4+ sets, but many of you do because you like the parts and like the fact that there's no decals. And even if you don't build it, you sometimes buy it, I'm told, just to have the parts for your own use when you build original mocks. Before I tell you about the set, though, I want to tell you about the second thing I did this week, which is to build a new faction based on the Series 27 collectible minifigs series. Of course, everybody wants the Wolfpack figure, and they're hard to get. I've managed to find 5, which I've turned into a Ranger pack. And I'm really glad I have them. And quite frankly, if I don't find another one, that'll be fine with me. I've also managed to take the steampunk inventor and do some really fun things with it, creating a kind of a clockwork faction that is from the Land of Oz. I created an ambassador figure last week and his guard. And I'm in the process of gathering more of those steampunk inventors. I'd like to have maybe 8 or 10 of them because I want to build an army of them. I think that would be really cool that the Land of Oz has an army of clockwork figures. The other character that is of interest to me in that set is the Pirate Quartermaster, which I think really has some cool graphics printed on it, and it's just very pleasing to me. It just occurred to me that in looking at the torso to this Pirate Quartermaster, what the image that popped in my mind was bandits, highwaymen. And I really loved the idea that they were female. And so I decided, since it's a fantasy castle world, to make them a kind of band of bandit witches. And so I borrowed some hats from various witch characters, one of them from the Dungeons and Dragons witch, and the other, I think, from the Halloween minifig. I put a staff in one of their hands, also from the Dungeons and Dragons warlock figure with that big, eyeball at the center of it. And it just struck me as just kind of the perfect blending of extra parts and this collectible minifig from Series 27 in order to build that faction. And I integrated it in my lore and just had a great time doing it. So that's what I did in terms of minifigs this week. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this 4+ set. I think that in terms of graphics and color and design and play value, this has so much going for it that even if you're not a fan of 4+ sets and you never even began to imagine that you would put this in your castle world, especially fantasy castle world, I would ask you to reconsider this, because if you look at it closely, it doesn't look like a 4+ set. I mean, it's simple, yes, but there's just so much going on. From the graphics around the kind of entrance to what I think of as the arena with those wonderful golden dragons surrounded by the red of the posts and pillars, to the kind of gong up top. I imagine it's a bell or a gong, to the roof line, which is just spectacular. And the 2 little side builds from the center that have, really attractive windows and a little bit going on there. On one side, there's a blacksmith's anvil and a hammer where a blacksmith could pound out the swords that are used in the battles. And on the other side, there's a cherry blossom tree, as well as a table with kind of a tea ceremony vibe going on. And then in the center is the battle arena, the center where that arch is. And it just has such a clever play feature to it in these little revolving circles that move when you kind of twist a knob. It spins the minifigs, and so you can have battles with each of the characters. So I just love the idea of that. I thought it was a perfect way to integrate a Ninjago 4+ set. This is the first 4+ set I've seen in Ninjago that is really looks like a set built for someone much older, even though it's simple to put together, and it's certainly suitable for 4+. From the standpoint of a senior builder, because I am 70, I want to say that there was really nothing fussy at all about this build. Because it was 4+, it was literally one piece at a time. And it was built in 4 different sections. So it's really designed so that a kid could build it with his friends, and each of them take a section and then combine it and put it all together. It also easily detaches so that you can you could arrange it any way you wanted to. You could just use the center section if you wanted in your fantasy castle world. I think this took me probably less than an hour to assemble, but it was a pleasure to build every step of the way. So that's my review of this kind of 4+ set and what I did this week. I'd like to know what you think of this set and whether you could see maybe adding it to your Fantasy Castle world. And if there are other 4+ sets that you have added to Fantasy Castle, I would like to know, because I really love those sets, and they really are like palate cleansers in my mind. They're just so relaxing to build. The other thing I wanted to remind you of is that I have an audio-only podcast that I also host on YouTube called Since 1954 Podcast, where I can just kind of riff on subjects Lego and other. I have a discussion up there that I posted last week, a discussion with myself about Lego mini dolls that you might find interesting. So I'll leave a link to that in the description of this video. I'm about to post another of those audio-only podcasts very soon. But in the meantime, this is Tom Bray saying thank you so much for your support. I'll see you next time, and happy building.